I'm back working on my Volkswagen Amarok. I have been putting off a little bit because I wasn't too keen on it and I didn't have the tools. So I bought the tools now to undo this big spline bits for the head bolts. I didn't want to use Torx key because that was even too dodgy for me. So today I'm pulling the head off this thing and I'm going to send it away to Jacobson's engineering and get them to whack some new valves in it and that. So what happened is when I did break them rockers, first time around, I didn't bend any valves, thank fuck. But this time around, I have bent a valve. So I'm sending it off. I'm going to get all new valves put in it. Going to cost a bit of money, but anyway, that's life for you, hey. So I'll show you how I figured out without taking the head off that I got a bent valve. And then we'll start pulling this head off and we'll go from there, eh? So some of you will remember this tool that I made. So what I've done is I've used that tool to pull the valve spring off. Hold on, I'll just get these cams out of the way. Hang on, take this cam out first. Get these cams out. Don't worry about where they go. Oh, there we go. These are the two rockers it broke, the ones on the exhaust side. Now, I was pretty sure I had a broken rocker because when I started it, it sounded like it was exhausting out the snorkel. Anyway, so this is me valve. I've pulled the spring off of it, and it won't fall down because it's sitting on the piston. Like I've got that piston at the top. Now the way I checked to make sure it was not bent, or it was bent, is if you turn it, it's very hard to explain and show on the camera. It's turning now. Can you see the top? Oh, see that? See how the top of it isn't? Look at that, look how bent it is. This is not obviously how you check them every time, but this will give you a good indicator whether it's bent bad or not. And this one is clearly bent pretty bad. So that means head's got to come off, pull the valves out, get new valves. Like it goes from being a cheap ute that I got running and driving and I fucking got a mad deal out of to one stupid mistake on my behalf, not even the car's fault. One stupid mistake on my behalf is now going to cost me over $2,000. So for those of you that are thinking, oh, I should have a crack at anything and have a go at it just like I've been doing, sometimes you fuck up and sometimes it costs you a lot of money. Sometimes you win. Every now and then you win. But sometimes, fuck, it costs you some money. So that's life for you. Let's get into pulling this head off and see if we can get something happening here. Rightio. So yesterday, I started pulling my Amarok apart to get the head off because of that bent valve, right? And I didn't video it because I really needed to concentrate on what I was doing and all of that. And I just needed to have my head in the game so I can put it back together. And it could be a couple of weeks before I put it back together. So anyway, there's a big hole in there where I've taken the head off. A bit of coolant and shit on there. Anyway, and here's all the bits. All the rockers and shit. And lucky I did, because look, I found another broken rocker. But yeah, all my head bolts, my turbo, all that shit, it's all off. Now, I flipped the head over to have a look at this bent valve and I was showing it to Jess, and then Jess pointed out, look at this. There's a fucking crack in the head between the exhaust and intake valve. And it's not just there, there's one here too. And there's another one here. So there's at least 3 cracks in it that we can see. So if you can see a crack, then it's pretty bad. Who knows how many more cracks there are in the head if they go and get it checked. So unfortunately, we can't just go and send this head away to get it machined and new valves and stuff set in it. So we've come across it on the internet. There's another head there, so we're going to buy that head, and it comes all assembled except for the cams. And I'll wait for that to come and put it back together in a couple of weeks' time and hopefully get this car back going. So our $5,000 Amarok has now turned into almost an $8,000 Amarok. $9,000 Amarok. So, oh well. I've just brought my Amarok back in the shed and I've got all the parts out and everything. Now, because it was just going to be such an easy job to put the head back on, I decided I was going to wait 2 weeks and maybe party a fair bit and forget where everything goes, just in case it was going to be too easy. So have a look at what we're dealing with. So I've got a big hole in the engine, bits missing off, hoses and shit going everywhere, and of course I made sure I didn't video it first or label anything. There's the old head there, and there's a box full of bits here. Here, look at all the bits. Yeah, and then there's also a box full of bits here. And there's my new head, and there's some bits on the ground here too I've just been fiddling with. And all the new parts here. So, we now have an exciting job to really challenge whether I can put it back together, and I honestly fucking don't know, eh? I think that packet's for injectors too. This packet, this is the one I need, I think. No. It's probably got some bits in it that I need. This one. This is the one I'm looking for. I don't know what that one does either. Well, there's a... maybe it goes in there. I don't know. Anyway, so I've got to screw these in these holes. I think the stubby bit goes in. Where do they go? One there.
Is there instructions with it?
No. I think if you need instructions for this, I think you probably shouldn't be doing it. That's not how it goes on.
No, it's different. It's a different gasket.
There you go.
But it is different.
It is different, yeah. I had this stone that I usually use for my head surfaces and stuff, and I just rubbed it over there. Just made sure it's all flat and all clean. I'm pretty sure this is how they do it at Volkswagen. Oh, fuck you, Dan McCain. There we go.
Doesn't it feel about right?
Yeah, there should be 3 in there. Is there? No, there's 4. Yeah. I wonder how you put these in. I'm guessing not with a pair of pliers. There we go. These are being pretty tight, I think. Right. I'll need to clean
Oh,
them.
that's long.
It's a bit of a compliment, babe.
I listed glow plugs before when I was reading those talk specs out. I listed spark plugs, but it doesn't have spark plugs.
No, so you're probably reading the wrong talk specs. I guess we're fucking just about at the point ready to put it on. Look how fucking flash that is.
It's just a gasket, babe.
No, but it's thick. You can only go on one way.
Don't fucking drop it. Oh my god.
Fucking good radio support panel, I tell you that. This is fucked.
Don't break anything in there.
I'm trying not to. It's kind of not the fucking easiest task. I tell you, I've done more enjoyable things in my fucking life. Oh, fuck me dead. That was not enjoyable whatsoever. That's how he puts the washers on.
What bloke in that video you just watched?
The bloke in the video, yeah. Which is actually a genius idea. Works good as.
I'd rather got on your head bolts.
No, just softly. I guess we'll start at the front, at the bottom, down here on the hot side, and we'll go up and around the back and around the there. Step one, I'm putting the oil lines back on the top and the bottom of the small turbo. The next bit is, let me pull this up and see if it goes on soon. This piece of fucking shit is extendable. It goes on there. That goes up there and goes on top of that turbo. That's this piece. That must go like that. That's the way it wants to sit anyway.
What?
Do you remember where that bit goes? This bit here has to bolt into the bottom of the turbo here, and it was a fucking pain in the ass to undo these bolts, so it's going to be even more fun to get them back in. Put that on there.
What happened?
I didn't pull the tissue out of there. Well, I might have, but I can't remember for sure. Fuck it.
Lucky. And there's another bit too.
Yeah, it's this bit that I remembered about.
Head's not in the game.
Yeah. Maybe. I think it started. Yeah, it started. Put this top bit together first. That copper washer goes on there like that. This screw there. There we go. Oh, I don't know if they open wide enough. Start putting this bracket in. This here bit, I reckon, goes on there. Oh, it must go through. Goes through there.
So you should have put that on first.
Yeah. It's alright, I got it through. There we go. That way? It's a pretty colour.
It won't be for long.
You won't see it for long. Ta-da! I guess we can put this bit on now. We've tightened all that. This goes under this bolt here. Fuck, I'm glad I left most of these bolts in the holes where they came from. Imagine trying to search for all these bolts. I've got to put the dipstick back on. Husband's on there. I might leave that off for a second until I put that hose on. See this big hose here? It's got to go onto there. Oh yeah. On she goes. And that hose clamp just is the one that just fell on the ground before. This one. Look how fucking gnarly these hose clamps are. They're designed to grip onto the hose. Let's go through the parts pile and see if we've got all the bits back on. Well, hopefully all the bits back on, and then we'll get stuck into setting this cam timing and shit. But I'll just leave it till after. It's easy, it's only just off the front of the turbo to the airbox. Look, got one box empty. That's pretty cool. Now that bit, that's a spare bit, we don't need that anymore, which we'll be putting in shortly. That's new bits that we're not using anymore. And that one, we need this one. We need this cam gear. Timing tensioner. Don't need that valve spring. Don't need that retainer. But all of that we still need. Leftover spareys. And there's a couple there too. What's them two?
Your locator's in that.
Oh, we don't need that locator anymore. Right. Keep that in a dust-free area. This cam is better than the factory cams. See, the factory cams, the lobes can spin on the cam, whereas this cam looks like it's made in one piece. So the lobes can't spin on the cam. That's pretty cool. Pop that cam out.
I love that shit.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Look, there's no dirt there now. Look at this packaging.
Individually.
Fuck
Individually wrapped.
Oh, it's even got a peel back top. It comes off in two separate layers.
They fit.
Nice and snug. Fuck yeah. New bits. Ready, 90 degrees. Ah, fuck, that's tight. Fuck, what a mess that makes. They're right, baby.
I hope so.
Righto. So last night I slapped this cam retainer plate on after setting the cam timing, and I wasn't sure about it, so I thought I'd better double check them this morning. And yes, it's right. I'm quite happy with how it's come down. The head bolted down really nicely. It's pretty much time to start putting the timing gear on, the rocket cover on, and all the other bits together. So this, I think this was what was leaking. It feels gross, like it's stretchy. It's like lost its fucking rubberiness. Whereas this one, see it bounce back?
Yeah. Just had to replace that. It would have saved a lot of fucking money and effort, eh?
Yeah, we're saving a couple grand. Fuck, they're in there good. I reckon they'll be quite difficult. That was easy. Much easier getting them in than it was getting them out. What's the torque specs on these? No. Because if you do it on too tight, it'll fucking leak. And if you do it on too loose, it'll leak. 10 seems pretty tight for these. There's a 1.
Well, what does that one say?
2.
Fucking hell. Why do you need to replace them?
Because that causes this. See how that's got all that shit up there? It's leaked past that seal, and that's what I had to make that tool for, to get that out, was because of this seal.
Can't see what you're doing down there.
I can't see what I'm doing either.
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to put the crank locking tool in. But it's not as easy as it fucking looks. I've been poking my phone down to take a photo of it so I can see, because you can't see it properly. So I'll show you the photo of it locked in position now. Now it's time to set my cam. I already had the injector timing set from last time, so now it's time to set my cam gear. Now I can see that, see this arrow, there's an arrow there, and I put a mark here to give me a rough idea. So obviously it's got to turn, so I'll turn it a little bit to get it into position. So I've got the belt on, I've got my locking gears in there, they're nice and loose, and the bottom one, right, it's all in there. So now I've got to take them all out, turn the motor over 2 revolutions, and put them all back in, and hopefully they all go back in. And if they don't go back in, I have to loosen these, tighten them, and then do it again, and do it again. So hopefully I can do it within 2 or 3 times to get them all exactly where they got to go. After quite a bit of time and fucking up 1 or 2 times maybe, I've got the motor timed correctly. So when I turn it over, I can put my bottom crank locking key in, I can put the cam locking key and the injector pump locking key in. I can just turn it, put it in without having to move it. So I know, and I'm very confident that I've got it timed correctly now, not like last time. So now that that's done, I guess it's time to just slap the rest of the motor together. I've got all the injector lines and all the plugs and wires and coolant lines and air intake lines and all that shit to put on. Anyway, so the other day I was all ready to get it going. We slipped into town and bought some oil and that for it, and I thought I'd quickly do an oil filter change and slap some oil in it before I started it. Unbeknownst to me, you've got to pull fucking brackets and hoses and shit off to get your oil filter out. Anyway, I snapped the end off of it, so I've been waiting for a week and a half now for a new oil filter cap. So finally, I get to start it after having it together for over a week. And you know what happens when you put things together and you don't test it straight away? You start questioning, oh, did I do this? Or did I do that? So I'm a bit even more nervous than I was before. So anyway, I'm going to slap some oil in it and see if it goes. Spot to put the fucking oil filler, hey?
I don't know where the hole is, babe.
Yeah, this is why I got kids, eh? Look at that, straight in. You gonna spill it? A little bit. So I don't want it to start. So I might unplug all the injectors. Hopefully it doesn't throw fault code. I don't think it did last time actually. Unplug all these injectors. Guess I wind it over for a while. Hopefully the fucking battery hasn't gone flat while it's been parked for the last month. Wind it over for a while till the oil light goes out. I'll plug those things in and see if it'll go. About it. Like, I've got no idea what I'm doing, eh? So, just sort of hoping like shit that I did it right. Alright, we'll try it again. It's not cranking fast enough. Well, I'll crank it over for 20 seconds or so and then I'll tighten the injectors back up, plug them back in.
It's been on charge all night.
Yeah, it's been on charge all night, so... Oh, the key. Let's see if it starts now.
How's your lights on the dash?
Nothing.
None.
It sounds like it's running fine. Well, it's going. Wonder if it revs and drives and shit. Wonder if the turbos are working without leaking. Maybe.
Drive it and see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, see if it blows up. Definitely sounds it feels normal. That's 6. So far, so good.